Marshall D. Teach, aka Blackbeard, is a notorious pirate that has been wreaking havoc and causing problems since his first mention all the way back in Drum Island. His impact on the story is unmistakable, and his future, in my eyes, only points to one thing: him being the final villain. With that being said, let's look back and see how terrifying he truly is. What's up, guys? Son, and today we're going to be talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Blackbeard, which to me, I don't know about y'all, that's my second favorite character. He's right behind Luffy. He's actually my third. He's right behind Luffy, and he's right behind Zoro. But that second spot, it might be interchangeable depending on the day. With the God Valley flashback ending, there's a lot of lore drops that we got to talk about that changed how some people view Blackbeard. So let's get right into it. One of the first things I want to mention is how he was introduced. One Piece introductions are very important, and serious characters typically have serious introductions, whether it be a flashback or whatever the case may be. Blackbeard's specifically stands out to me. It's simple, but it was super effective. All the way back in Drum Island, when Vivi and Usopp are talking to Dalton, he tells them that the kingdom was attacked by the Blackbeard pirates, but it only had 5 people, and they were wiped out before they knew what happened. This just shows how ruthless they really are. And they were able to take out Dalton, which at the time was our first ever Zoan user, and that was pretty hyped. So to be able to do that early on, that's kind of impressive, I'm not gonna lie. So already we're starting to see how much of a monster Blackbeard is, and how much of a monster his crew really is. In the Jaya arc, we got our first look at the Blackbeard pirates. Mind you, they were mentioned almost 100 chapters ago, so the build-up was there. I think the OG crew we get is so interesting, but I'll save that for later. What I want to talk about is his conviction. Everyone always talks about the people's dreams never end scene, but with the recent chapters, I have a feeling he was going deeper than that. Not only did he stand 10 toes on his stance in the middle of a town full of salty bums, but I think he was hinting at something that wouldn't be revealed for hundreds of chapters. One Piece is a story of inherited wills, and we know that Blackbeard inherited the will of his dad, Roxy Zebek, to take over the world and rule it. Both of them are the descendants of the Davy clan, making them related to Davy D. Jones. When Rox was fighting Emu, he said something that I thought was interesting. He said, "Who made you more afraid, Davy Jones or Joy Boy?" This to me is insane, and it relates to Blackbeard's introduction. When he's first introduced, the famous pie gag happens where him and Luffy completely disagree on how they think the pie tastes and the drink tastes. They're polar opposites. Luffy has the inherited will of Joy Boy, which I think is to free the world from the clutches of Emu and have a state of complete freedom. I think that Davy Jones wanted to overthrow Emu, freeing the world from their clutches, but putting it into his. So if Blackbeard inherited his father's will, and his father inherited Davy Jones's will, then we all know what that means. The world will be Blackbeard's, but I have a feeling that with his crew, it'll be a lot more wicked. Blackbeard's crew from the jump has always been interesting. The first time we see them all on panel, at least 4 of the 5 OGs, is towards the end of Jaya. Each character's introduction individually, though, is very interesting and already points to each of their sadistic natures. Von Augur is sitting on top of a building aura farming, shooting birds from miles away just for fun, talking about how it's fate that they're dying or something random. Jesus Burgess is in the streets picking fights for no reasons like a meathead, and Doc Q is handing out death apples to random people. Luffy got lucky and ate a safe one. Looks like fate was on his side. The Feet is the only member not on Jaya at the time, but he was busy infiltrating a top government meeting on Maryjoy. This alone is insane. He somehow managed to infiltrate a meeting of the 7 warlords with no one noticing. Not even Mihawk, who probably has one of the craziest observation hockeys that you can have, with, I think, one of the craziest observation hockey feats that you can have, when he was able to sense what was happening at the reverie from his island, he couldn't even notice it. Each member so far has been insane, so it's fitting that their captain is just as crazy. To me, they all have perfect introductions that tell you what you need to know about them. Jesus Burgess is strong, he likes to pick fights. Von Auger, of course, is a sharpshooter, but it shows how impressive he really is. Doc Q, he's a doctor, I guess he's sick, I don't really know, but all of them correlate, and they're all goated. A running theme amongst the Blackbeard pirates is that of fate and luck. Von Auger says it himself, there is no coincidence, only fate. So it's fate that all these strong characters get grouped together under one man. So to round out his crew, Blackbeard goes searching for some more crewmates like them. Some upstanding individuals, some great good pirates that are strong. I'm sure he'll find people that are, kind, that certainly wouldn't do any random acts of violence or anything. What? He went where? To Impel Down? The highest security prison in One Piece? To the lowest level to find the worst of the worst? And he recruited the prison's shady head jailer that was put in jail because he was killing and beating the hell out of prisoners? Yeah, the next people this man got were completely off the rails. Shiryu, like I said, is the head jailer of Impel Down, who was too dangerous that he had to be put and contained in the very jail that he worked at. He joins Blackbeard for honestly a weird reason. He says that he sees a future with the crew. It honestly sounds like something you would say to the person that hired you, like at an office job, not something you would say to a murderous pirate. The rest of the crew gets their time to shine at the same time, and the four of them are described using some very interesting words, to say the least. They are the, quote, worst criminals in the world. They are, quote, all on death row. And, oh wow, look at this. They all have had their existences erased from the world because of how heinous they are. Wow. Wow, what lovely individuals. Not only does he collect all these demons, like the Infinity Stones, he gives each of them a devil fruit. Wow, oh my god, how nice. He also adds Aokiji, now Kuzan, to his ranks, but he could have his own video. Comment if you want to see that. His crew is vicious, monstrous, murderous, but they serve a purpose. What that purpose isn't entirely clear to me. It could be the same thing that Rocks did, collecting the strongest pirates there were, but instead of a crew of like 8 conquerors, he got a crew of 9 people who are devoted, incredibly powerful, and will actually follow his lead. Blackbeard stealing Whitebeard's devil fruit is still one of the biggest mysteries in all of One Piece. We don't know how he did it, but he managed to be the only character in the story to wield the power of 2 devil fruits at once. The leading theory around the community is that in order to do this, you need the dark fruit, which is why Blackbeard spent years trying to find it. But even before the fruit, he was able to scar Shanks of all people. The Steph Curry of the One Piece world was permanently scarred by a pre-fruit Blackbeard. And not only does he have 1, but 2 devil fruits, both of which are very powerful in their own right. In the One Piece world, this is the ultimate power play. This would put him above anyone else in terms of infamy, and theoretically, power. Having 2 fruits is impossible, and he just achieved it, rightfully declaring this era as his. That's the video, y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. Comment down below if you want to see any other videos like this, like character breakdowns, but even more in-depth. Blackbeard to me is one of the most interesting characters in One Piece, and I can't wait to see how this story concludes and how his story concludes. Again, if you want to see more, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.